go to Adobe Color. Which is that colour palette generator that I did introduce you to. You should be able to sign into that with your TAFE details. And that'll give you access to all its functionality. So it'll take you through the screens. So on. So once you're in, it just gives you the extra ability to download these colour swatches as JPEGs and also to save them in a way that can go into Adobe Illustrator. I won't cover all of that now because that could get confusing. So whatever colour you researched, you're going to put in that first box all the way down and choose colours that relate to it. So if the set of boxes is grouped, just go to Object, Ungroup, click off and click back on the first group. So analogous colours are, all of these colour harmonies, it's just a way of getting colours that instantly work well with each other. You don't have to think too much about it. They will work together. So if you get stuck and your client wants a certain set of colours or you have to work with a brand colour, this is a great way to work. It's a great tool to work with. So let's say that my main colour that I researched was a nice warm red. So I can copy the little hex code from there, just clicking. And if you click on here, you get a drop down. It gives you the RGB codes, etc. Note it's all screen colour. So you could either plug in the RGB values or just take, the easiest thing really is just to take that hex code, which is used for web design, and you can flip back into Illustrator, right? And you can just plug it in. So again, have your window colour, and you can just plug it in there, hit return, and there's my colour. So I would put that colour, the same colour, all the way down. So you don't lose it, you know that you can create a new swatch with it. You know, my colour. And then you basically are going to switch colour. You can see it's got triadic, it's got all these funny sounding names. Again, ungroup if the boxes are grouped. Just select the first box and fill it with your chosen colour. Now I've chosen this red. Really not sure what other colours I could put with it. You know, the client's given me this to work with, and maybe I actually hate those colours. I've never worked with them before. So then you get something that you can work with that will help you. So I could even use a cool warm one here. The last one, Colour Discord, I'll talk about that separately. So once you've got them all in there, go back and then use these colour formulas to get colours that will work together without you having to think or agonise too much about it. So this gives me a whole set. So you can see that little white tag there, little arrow there. That's that main colour which is sitting here. Okay, so I've got that, and then I just want to choose. I'm looking at these and I think, well, maybe I think this will go well, and so it's kind of a pinky version and this more orange version. So all I've got to do is copy that little code back into Illustrator, choose the next box, copy that code in, and there it's sitting in there. And it's going to work well, but off the top of my head, I might have had a lot of difficulty coming up with an interesting colour scheme. So again, I can copy that little hex code and go back into Illustrator and replace it there. Make sure I've got the next box selected and then paste it in. Oh, maybe that's too similar to that one. So hang on, I might go back and choose the pinky one I saw there. Maybe that one would be better option to use. So I'll copy that. Make sure I've got the right box selected. Okay, so there's a set of colours that I wouldn't have chosen. That's not a colour I'm keen on in my own personal aesthetic. So this is a way for you to work with colours when you're completely freaked out by the client's colour choice, or they have a brand colour which again you're not a fan of. So you've got to be able to move away from your own personal taste and also think about what they've told you about the mood they're trying to create. What's the product, what's the market, what's the set of colours that would suit that audience. And the audience might not be your age or your demographic, but you've still got to work with those colours that suit that particular audience. But that's not you, right? You're not a 10-year-old boy, okay? But you've got to design something for a 10-year-old boy. So you be guided by what you understand about the audience's colour preferences, what's going to appeal to them. You've got to move outside of your particular colour preferences, and this is a tool to help you do that. So let's have a look. Complementary colours. So these are colours that are directly opposite each other. Go back to your little tool, and then you just go over here and you switch colour schemes. So there it is, complementary. So now I just get two colours that are opposite each other. So I've got my main colour, which is the same as it was before, and I just choose one of these. I could go dark, so that's still an opposite. Note that that's a variation of the red, so you don't want to choose two reddish ones. They're not opposite. Even though it's giving you these warm colours are just variations of the red, right? So you've got to choose a variation of a cooler colour, one of the greens, because that's a complementary opposite. So you could choose that one. So it's a darker green. And again, I'm going to pop it in there. So it didn't work. What's going on there? Doesn't want to paste in. I'll just go back to that should work now. Oh yes, I've still got that colour selected. So select the empty box, sorry, before you do your cut and paste. See if that's it. Yeah, so I could use that because it's a muted one, kind of goes with it. Or I could use the brighter one. But actually I think that darker one goes better with this muted orange. And then you keep moving down, you've got triadic colours. What are they? They're three colours that are equidistant on the colour wheel. So go down there and have a look at triad. That's triadic. And again, it gives you a nice set of colours to go with that problematic orange that we've got to work with. So it's giving me three colours to work with. So I'm quite liking this green, so I'll go with that. Go back to Illustrator again. Type that in. And then let's go back and have another look. Maybe I should go with something along the bluish line. And note that I could adjust that and I could use any kind of blue. It's still going to be triadic. So if I wasn't entirely happy with the blue, I could use a more intense one or a more tinted version. It's still going to be triadic. Okay, so you can adjust the colours if one's slightly too bright or something like that. You can mute it down or you can brighten it up. And there's a set of colours I would never have thought of putting together, but I actually think they go quite well. Note that when you're designing, this is what you would call your key colour. There would be more of that and there'd be touches of these other colours. So when you're working with a brand, obviously that brand colour is everywhere, but you need other colours that would be in the brand book that work with it. Okay, so split complementary colours, it's 3, so let's go back and have another look. So there it is, split complementary. So it's very similar to complementary opposite. It just gives you a little bit of variation. And again, if you wanted even more variation, you could pull those up and down a bit. So I'm going for a lighter version of that and maybe a more intense version of that. They're still going to be triadic. So let's just choose those. I'll use that one. Same thing again. Oh, sorry, go to my CMYK. And just paste it in there. And I'll have a different set of 3 colours. Not quite the same as your triadic, because it's really just variations of the green, just to give me a bit more variation. So it introduces a little bit of interest and variety. So you can see the difference. 3 colours, but these are equidistant on the colour wheel. These are just 2 that are either side of the direct opposite. Monochromatic ones, always a safe bet, monochromatic, because they're variations of the one colour. So again, go and switch to monochromatic and have a look, and you'll see a lot of companies that are trying to be really safe are going to use this. And again, you could vary, you could push and pull these in and out a bit to vary the tonality of them, but they're still going to work as monochromatic. So I'll copy that, put it in. Just switch to just click on there so you're not seeing it. And they're all variations in saturation, lightness and darkness, and so on. Don't know which one I copied now. Can't remember. Okay, so nice monochromatic, but you can see there's variation within it. Tetradic colours is a combination of 2 sets of complementary opposites. So have a look at that. It's really quite hard to work with tetradic. So in here it's square, and you can see you get 2 sets of complementary opposites. So they're pretty wild. If you were to have equal amounts of those colours in a design, they'd really shout, they'd really clash. So again, the idea of what's called, it's called contrast of extension. So again, you would have lots of the main colour, so lots of this one, and then you would have smaller amounts of these 2, but you get a lot of variety within that. So do the same thing again, just copy those across and pick 2 complementary opposite pairs. They're interesting, more exciting kind of colour schemes to work with, but you will drive yourself a bit crazy if you have them in equal amounts. That's what you have to avoid. So great to work with, but handle with care, and by having smaller amounts and making sure that your key colour, which is often the brand colour, is the most dominant one. Oh, sorry, that should have been green. Okay, so that'll be fun to work with. We'd have that one. Actually, they should have been swapped around. I should have had the green as a complementary opposite of that. And those are the other two complementary, just to make it a bit clearer. So you'd have lots of that colour and then touches of the other three, and that would still work. But if you were to use them in equal amounts, a bit disastrous. Cool and warm, again, that's really similar to what we've just done with the complementary opposites. Cold, warm, so one cold and warm colour. For this one, you can move away from that because it'll be too similar to this. So just pick two sets of cool and warm. It doesn't have to be that same colour that you've been working with. So just pick two sets of cool and warm. So you know you've got cool colours are on this side. Anything on this side is considered a cool colour. So pick one of your colours for this from the cool side, and then its direct opposite on the opposite side. So complementary opposites really are already like that. They are contrasts in terms of cool and warm usually. But again, you're just trying to understand how the colour wheel works. Oh, sorry, done that again. I need to switch to CMYK. So choose one warm and one cool. So for my cool, now I need to go and choose that warm colour. That's opposite. So for this one, move away from your research colour and just pick any two. Okay, so now I'll switch it around. What's another set that I could work with? Maybe these ones. So the cool colour is here. Maybe go even a bit cooler. Those purpley colours are the cool colours. I'm going to go for the muted ones. So that kind of suits my colour schemes. That's my cool colour. And now I need a warm colour, which I'm going to usually find somewhere on this side. So any of those are going to be warm colours. The direct complementary opposite, but I could go for one of these, as long as it's warm. So you can use a bit of personal taste there, what you prefer. Okay, so that's that. And then the last one is asking you, this is very personal, go and pick a couple of colours, two sets of colours that just make you feel a bit sick. I get all sorts of really interesting things in this because everybody's very different about what they find absolutely hideous. So you can just pick off here if you like. My pet hates that pink and a really mustardy. I hate those. I feel like that makes me feel a bit sick. It's kind of really dirty colours I'm not a fan of. So personal taste there. What do you find a bit ick? I don't like those together. They're a bit horrible. But that's me. I mean, you could have another set of colours that you don't like. So that's just personal taste. You can muck around with the sliders here. This is not going to tell you anything. It's really, you could go to custom and you could just start playing around and see what couple of colours you don't like together. That's up to you. So find a couple of colours that you find deeply disturbing, don't like, would never use, but you might have to. Why might you use them? Well, sometimes maybe you want to use some really electric acid colours because that suits the punk rock band you're working to do a poster for or something like that. There could be an instance where there's particular colours that really suit a genre or a fashion. Again, they're not your personal colours, not your taste. Maybe you find them horrible, but they actually suit what it is the topic is about. So again, it's trying to get you to move outside your comfort zone so you can work with a client. So same thing, once you've finished that, save it as a PDF. It's save as, and just go PDF. and then you'll find you'll be able to drag that into the Word document, and then you've finished another one. Okay, and so I'll give everybody a little bit of a break, and then we'll move on to, so that goes in there, so you're just going to drag it in there, that box will expand to fit it. The next one I will talk about, because this one's going to take a little bit of time. So now you've done those colour schemes, you actually have to go and find, now you don't have to stick to the exact colours that you've found on here, right? So you don't have to go and find a logo that looks exactly with these three colours. What you do have to do is find an example of any logo that is using analogous colours. So now you've learnt what analogous colours are. We know that analogous colours are any three colours that are next to any set of colours, could be more than three, that are next to each other, they're all analogous, yeah? So you've got to go and find an actual logo that is using analogous colours. So forget about the research colour and the colours on your exercise, because it'd be too limiting. You wouldn't necessarily find a logo with exactly those colours. So it's any logo that you can identify as using colours, any set of colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel, right? So go and have a look, and you're going to put them in to the document, and then you're going to say, okay, I've found, maybe a Shell logo or something like that that's using these colours. Is it BP, or it's got these colours now? I can't remember. Why did they choose those colours? Okay, so if I go and Google, or was it the Shell logo? I can't remember. Yeah, there it is, BP. So that's a good example of a company that's using analogous colours. It's completely changed its branding from years ago. It's got this new symbol. What's your best guess about why they're using those colours? Anybody?
I did it on my assessment. Why did we use those colours?
Yeah, why?
Because they're green energy, and it's something to do with the sun as well.
Yeah.
So they used,
So what are they trying to tell you about their product?
that it's green, it's friendly, it's eco-friendly.
Is that true?
No.
It's petrol. It's petrol. So they're not allowed to do false advertising, right? That's against the law.
Yeah.
So they can't put an ad up that says, "Hey, we're green. We're using a pure product that doesn't pollute the environment." Well, no, they're not. But what they can do is try to give off the feeling that, hey, now I know we sell petrol, but now we're trying to be more environmentally friendly. We're trying to help the environment. That's an impression they're trying to give by using those colours. So they're really using colour and shape. Yes, it looks a bit like the sun. They are moving into solar. So you'll notice that the BP stations have got charging stations. So they're trying to rebrand themselves as an environmentally friendly company, as opposed to just a petrol company selling an awful product to the world. Yes, so the colours are used for a reason. So I want you to fill in your best guess, answer this question. So you can just do a screenshot of the logo and just drag it in here and talk about why you think they chose those colours. So then the next one is complementary opposite. So go and find an example of a logo that is using two colours that are opposite each other, any two colours, and then try to explain why you think they chose those colours. So split complementary, if you're unsure, if you forget what that means, go back to here, look at complementary and go and have a look. So are the two colours in the logo you're looking at, are they like this? Are they opposite each other on the colour? It can be shades and tints, yes? They're still going to be complementary opposites. So it could be quite a much more muted contrast, but you can still identify, so maybe it uses, these two, okay, so much darker, but they're still complementary opposite. So give us your best guess why they've used complementary opposite. The qualities of quite saturated complementary opposite are very vigorous, very energetic. So a company might be using those colours. Maybe they're a sporting company. Think about the colours of some of the sporting clubs. Yeah, think about St George. I mean, think about some of those. Yeah, so is it sort of an energy drink? Is it, you know, something that's meant to be active? You know, why have they chosen those two colours? So, sorry, not custom, complementary. And so you can move this around. You can see pairs of opposites there. So you're going to go off and look for a logo that uses any of those combinations, or indeed muted versions of them using tones, shades or tints. Yeah, but the saturated colour is out here. That's going to be your most vibrant and your most energetic version of the colours. So just work your way through. So you've been introduced to those colour harmonies. They're called that for a reason, colour harmonies, because automatically they will work together. Okay, except in the case of you going and throwing three colours together and using an equal amount of them, or four colours together with an equal amount, and then you're going to have problems. So you always want to have a key colour, and the other colours are used in smaller amounts for emphasis, for contrast, to draw attention. Say on a website, a call to action button is a very good example of why you might have a complementary opposite button. Hey, come and look at me. Pick me. Click here. So when you want somebody to do something, a complementary opposite to your key colour can be really, really useful. So think about that. So tetradic, remember that is 4, so it's that square one on the website. And so it's a logo using 4 colours. A really quick, easy one is Google. Okay, so what's your best guess as to why they used all those crazy colours? Yeah? So you might have to do a little research, go and have a look at what you can find out about any rationale you can find about the brand you're looking at. So most brands will have a little bit of information just by Googling that you'll find that will help you with that rationale to try to understand why they chose them. So you can guess, but you can also do a bit more than that. You can actually look at the brand you're looking at and try and find some information on why they chose those colours. All right? The colour discord one, the ones, that are uncomfortable, maybe the company you're looking at, has a particular reason. Maybe those colours are on trend and they appeal to a particular audience right now, or they belong to a past design style that has a particular appeal. Could be any one of a number of those reasons. You just try and look at the logo you've chosen and figure out why you think they chose it. So that's our next task. So basically, that's enough to go on with for today, or if you've got to leave, you can finish that at home. And then next week we'll go on with the rest of it, and if you can make sure you bring your colour wheel, your painted one, because we want to go back and we're going to again use our swatch books, but this time we're going to work with CMYK for the shades, but we're going to pick Pantone colours. So those really bright Pantone colours where we need to. So where we can't match our painted bright orange, for example, we're going to use Pantones. So we'll also look at there's also the RGB colour wheel we're going to do. So all of that will go over next week. So we've got a straightforward CMYK colour wheel, which you're now, getting lots of practice in doing. And you've got to give an explanation about why those colours are used. You're going to do an RGB version where we have to switch into RGB mode in our Illustrator document. And then we will do a pure Pantone one where we're just using Pantone solid colours. Right? But we've got plenty of time to do that next week. So as long as you can get as far as sort of working with this logo one, that's where I'd like you to be, and just remember to bring in your colour wheel that you've made by hand, which belongs in this box. So your painted version of this, you're going to scan it in or photograph it and place it in there. But we need it in class because we're going to look at it and we're going to try and do a digital version of your colour wheel. Yeah, fun. Right, so lots of practice. The whole idea of this gives you lots of practice switching between different colour modes and really, figuring out where those different colour options are in Illustrator and getting very comfortable and checking all the time. Oh, what kind of colours have I used here? Oh, I just eyedropped them. Oh, then they're going to be RGB. Oh, but it's a print project. Gosh, better get out the CMYK swatches and make sure that the colour I'm putting on screen when I send it off to the printer is actually going to have the formula that I want so that it prints correctly. Or, particularly if it's a bright colour, you would be choosing those spot colours, and you choose them from a completely different book to the CMYK process books. Or if you've got Colour Bridge, you go back to the other side to look at the really bright Pantone. So Pantone's spot or special are all the kind of ways that printers will talk to you about those colours. Do you need to use a special? You go, what's that? Oh, that's just a pure Pantone solid colour, or a tint of a Pantone. Okay, or a special. Okay, what's that? Yeah, it's a Pantone. So they're just interchangeable, the same way that CMYK and process, interchangeable terms that a printer will talk to you about. All right, enough from me.